Hi, this is Penny Simkin, and I'd like to talk with you today about a problem that a lot of childbearing people feel as they think about the use of pain medications in labor. No one wants to suffer in labor. No one wants to have extraordinary pain, but many women would like to minimize their use of pain medications. The dilemma comes with, gosh, I don't know how much it's going to hurt. I don't know if I should make a stand like that or make a decision that I don't want people to give me pain medications. And so I can certainly understand the doubts there because you don't know how much it's going to hurt. You don't know how long labor is going to be. But on the other hand, in a weak moment, sometimes at the peak of a contraction, if someone said, "How would you like to feel nothing right now?" You'd probably say, "Yeah, that's what I'd like. I don't like feeling this." Then when the contraction's over, you collect yourself and you're okay. So we don't want to take advantage of a time. If your desire is to minimize your use of pain medications, we don't want to have people wait until the peak of a contraction when it's at its most painful and then offer you pain medications. So what I would suggest as a way to protect yourself against using it when you don't want to and regretting it later, or using it appropriately, would be to have what we call a code word or a safety word. And in a case like this, you share that with your partner. If you have a doula, you'd share it with her. You'd share it with your midwife, the nurse in labor and delivery, your care provider. And you'd say that this is my code word. Let's say it's peanut butter. And unless I say peanut butter, I don't want you to give me pain medications. I might complain about the pain. I might say I hate this. But if I don't say peanut butter, keep encouraging me to keep going. So that's a way that you can be sure that you won't get it unless you really want it. You'll say your code word and everybody will snap to and help you get what you need. But it also gives you the freedom to swear, to cry, to say, "I hate this, don't make me do this anymore," and not misinterpret the frustration of the moment with a desire to feel nothing. So keep that code word in mind. Make sure that everybody around you knows what it is, and get their permission or their promise that if you say the code word, they're going to listen to it. So I'd like to give you a couple of stories that illustrate how the code word can come in handy. And the first one is a woman that I was the doula for, and she had a very strong desire to have a natural childbirth. In fact, her code word was supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. That shows you how much she wanted to have a natural birth. Well, in labor, her labor was challenging, as all labors are, and she cried quite a lot during her contractions, and she also got on quite a tear of swearing. And I knew this woman quite well, but I'd never heard words like that coming out of her mouth. So I was thinking, this woman is in trouble. And I kept supporting her because I did not want to betray her by implying that she couldn't do it. But after a while, I thought maybe she's forgotten her code word. And I thought, what do I do here? Because I don't want her to be suffering and regret later that we let her go to the depths of despair and suffering. And so I said, "You have a code word, you know." And she said, "Yeah." And she kept on swearing and crying and continued. Never did use pain medications. So I was baffled. And when I saw her later, I said, "I was worried about you in labor, and that's why I reminded you that you had a code word." And she said, "Oh, I'm glad you asked me because it made me think, am I suffering? Can I do this or not?" And she decided, "I can." And so she just kept going. And she said, "I'm just overdramatic." And that was so helpful because I'm glad I didn't say, "I think you need an epidural. You forgot. You really seemed like you need an epidural." That could have been devastating to her. So I found a way to make sure that she was going to use her code word if she needed to. And so that's one good example, I think. Now here's another example. This is a woman who had had a cesarean with her previous baby, and she really wanted to have a vaginal birth this time, and she wanted to do it without pain medications. So she was laboring. She went into labor on her own. She wasn't induced. And she and her partner were working beautifully together. I was also the doula there, so I knew she was one who had peanut butter as her code word. They were working beautifully together. They were standing facing each other, and she was kind of looking into his eyes, and she was stroking his arms up and down in a nice rhythm, getting through the contractions very well. She was around 4 centimeters, so it was still fairly early in her labor. And I was very comfortable. I felt that they were doing beautifully. I didn't need to help in any way. I was just there and admiring them. And then all of a sudden, she said her code word, peanut butter. And it seemed, I couldn't understand that. And her partner said, honey, you're doing beautifully. You don't need to use your code word. And he didn't want to listen to her. But the commitment that I had made to them in our prenatal work together was, if you use the code word, we change everything and we go in the direction of the medications. And I reminded him of that. I said, we've promised that. She said that. We have to go with it. And we did. And she went on, and she had a vaginal birth. I'm so pleased about that. And again, later when I asked her, I said, I was so surprised when you used your code word and your partner didn't think you should. And she said, you know what happened to me? She said, I had a moment of utter despair. Her sister or sister-in-law, I can't remember which, a few months previous had had a stillbirth. And that thought came into her mind at that time. And suddenly she could not go on. She felt I can't put it into words, but despair was really the way. She could not go on. And so she kind of handed over a lot of it to the others by giving having the medication. That put more responsibility on the staff. I think it was the right thing for her to do under those circumstances at that time. She had no regrets about it. And so it just shows that sometimes you can't just read a book tell a book by its cover. Sometimes there's something beneath there. And having that code word can be her safety net, her way of being sure that she won't be misunderstood or that she will be able to continue until she can't. So I'm a great believer in code words.